Well, good morning. Bonjour tout le monde. Mon nom est Joel Harden. My name is Joel Harden. I serve as the Member of Provincial Parliament for Ottawa-Centre and proudly as Ontario's critic for active transportation and public transit. We're here this morning to talk about a piece of legislation before the House called Bill 40, the Moving Ontarians Safely Act. Bill 40 is up for second reading this afternoon, and what we wanted to do this morning is put a human face on why we believe Ontario needs to do much more to protect vulnerable road users. I'm honored to be joined by three very, very informed, from personal experience, panelists. Before I do that, I also just want to acknowledge my friends MPP Jessica Bell, MPP Butila Carpache, and so many people in the gallery you can't see through your box over there who are here and have been lifelong advocates for vulnerable road users. Thank you very much, all of you, for being here today. So what is Bill 40 about? Bill 40 is not something that hit this floor last week. It's the culmination of work, including from MPP Bell, MPP Carpoche, MPP Fife, members of other political caucuses that have said Ontario needs to follow the lead of jurisdictions elsewhere that have ensured that drivers who drive recklessly that results in the critical injury or death of vulnerable road users, they have to be held accountable through a process that helps them become better drivers. It's not the only measure we need to protect vulnerable road users, but it's an important measure. So a version of Bill 40 has been kicking around Queen's Park for 10 years. For 10 years, we've talked about protecting vulnerable road users by having mandatory license suspensions, mandatory driver re-education programs, mandatory community service, and the requirement for people who critically injure or kill someone with their vehicle to be present at the victim impact statement for sentencing proceedings. This has been in this place for 10 years. And today is an opportunity where we can work together across the aisle to finally put an end to that 10-year delay and tell the thousands of people in Ontario that are critically injured or killed every year that Ontario is working across the aisle to make this stop. So my plea at the start, before introducing some of our friends here, is for all MPPs to come together today because road safety is not a partisan issue. It's an opportunity for us to work together. I want to introduce first Jess Speaker, who's with us from Families and Friends for Safe Streets. And Jess, please, any comments you might have about Bill 40 today, and it honors us that you're with us today.
Thank you, MPP Harden. My name is Jessica Speaker, and I'm here on behalf of Friends and Families for Safe Streets to express our full support for Bill 40, the Moving Ontarians Safely Act. This bill closes the gaps in the Highway Traffic Act, which currently allow reckless, at-fault drivers who kill or seriously injure a person outside of their car to get away with the sole penalty being a trivial fine. I found out about those gaps the hard way in 2015 when I was T-boned on my bike by a woman making a left turn. She slammed her nearly 5,000-pound SUV like a battering ram into me and broke my spine, inflicted a brain injury, and caused so much soft tissue damage that I nearly died a second time because of blood clot-related complications. It always surprises Ontarians to find out that hitting someone with a car is not actually illegal in and of itself. Therefore, when a reckless driver kills or injures another person, police can only turn to minor charges like turn not in safety, fail to yield, or unsafe start from stop, all of which carry negligible fines and few, if any, demerit points. In the end, the woman who nearly killed me pled down to the most trivial Highway Traffic Act infraction there is, improper use of a turn signal, and was fined $300 and received 0 demerit points for destroying my life as I knew it. Most hurtful and baffling of all, she got to continue driving as if she did nothing wrong, with no mechanism whatsoever in place to force her to become a better driver and stop her from doing that again. The lack of justice is maddening for me, but it's infinitely worse for families when their loved one is killed violently and preventably. The system reduces our worth as human beings to a few $100s or nothing at all. An important component of healing after trauma is a societal recognition that what happened to us was wrong, as well as a meaningful change that happens in the aftermath. Nearly all victims of road violence are denied this level of justice and healing. It's intolerable, and it's time to fix our laws. With the Moving Ontarians Safely Act in place, every at-fault driver's license would be suspended until they appear in traffic court to face their devastated victims, until they complete community service and until they complete remedial driver retraining. Why should a driver who killed someone be getting behind the wheel again until, at the very least, they can demonstrate that they can drive safely? Sunday is the World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims, a worldwide event recognized by the UN. This week is a perfect opportunity for MPPs of all parties to honor the lives of all of the people who have been preventably killed on Ontario's roads by supporting road safety, by showing they have the political will to do everything possible to end the public health crisis that relentlessly steals hundreds of lives across this province, with unknown thousands of victims suffering life-ruining injuries every year, year after year after year. People are dying, and something effective can be done. We need this protection for people outside of cars, and we need it now. Thank you.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you very much. Next, I'd like Mr. Asfal Syed, who's here all the way from Scarborough, despite some traffic congestion and duress. You've lost your brother, and I was wondering if you could tell us that story this morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. Good morning. My name is Asfar Syed, and my younger brother, Akram Syed, and also my sister-in-law is here today to support Bill 40 here. We have very devastating story, family story. On December 11, 2021, my eldest brother, who struck by a crazy driver, I'll say, and he passed away. It's very tragically. His sudden departure has left us, a family and a community is devastated. My departed brother was more than just a family member. He was a beacon of love and care of everyone around him. The pain we feel is beyond words, but we find comfort in the memories of a man who dedicated his life to kindness and understanding. This morning, my brother, sister-in-law, and I here to show our support for Moving Ontarians Safety, because as a family we know firsthand the impact unsafe roads can have on families. We stand before you not only as a giving family but also as advocates for change. No family should endure the heartache we have felt of losing our loved one to unsafe roads. We ask steps to be taken to prevent such tragedies and feel that the implementation of Bill 40 is crucial for ensuring justice in cases like this. As the saying goes, justice delayed is justice denied. We call for the swift passage of Bill 40 to prevent any further delay in justice for my brother and others who have suffered similarly. It's our shared responsibility to strive for a society where we don't see such heartbreaking departures anymore. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Syed. I think it's also worth pointing out, just before turning to our last panelist, that in both of these cases, the driver responsible was driving soon after the incident happened. That's the law currently in Ontario. Last but not least, I want to turn to Patrick Brown. Patrick, you have been carrying this work for a very, very long time through your legal advocacy, through your public advocacy. Thank you so very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Joel. As we've heard, this law has been being pushed for a decade, and thank you so much for pushing this forward once again. But during that decade, thousands of people have been seriously injured, hundreds have been killed, and they will continue to be. Accountability does not exist in this system. The loss of a grandfather should not result in a $400 fine. A loss of a child should not result in a $1,000 fine. Those are stories that are repeated on a regular basis. Families come to court thinking that they're going to get some kind of sense of justice for the loss of life or a serious injury, only to find that justice is not served. This is bringing accountability back into the system, where we can simply say, if you break a law, you're not going to be able to drop that charge down to a lower offense and get a small fine that's been happening on a repeated basis. Is it not enough to ask that simply someone take a driving course after they've broken the law and killed someone, is it not enough to ask that they do some community service and road safety? These aren't big asks, but they are a way to try to find some accountability so that justice can be brought back to some of these families and people stop doing this. And can I just add that this is not just Joel, but Joel's bill is supported by the Ontario Brain Injury Association, the Brain Injury Association of Toronto, one of the largest seniors organizations in this province, United Senior Citizens of Ontario, active transportation groups like Cycle Toronto and Walk Toronto and Bikeways. There's so many other organizations that support this bill and have asked for it, and we just think it's about time.
Thank you so very much. Before ending, I just want to point out, too, the way we've met the Syed family is through my good friend, MPP Dolly Begum, who's on her way here, but as perhaps cruel irony would have it, there was a collision on the road on her way here, so Dolly's delayed, but Dolly's very much with us in spirit. I also just want to point out as we end, if there are any questions, this is the law. In many jurisdictions in the United States, we often, as Canadians, feel a certain smugness about our Medicare system or other things. We look at our American neighbors. But in the state of Oregon, there's a $12,500 fine if you are found to be responsible for critically injuring or killing someone. And the way one can potentially have that fine waived is by enrolling in 100 to 200 hours of community service, taking a mandatory driver's re-education program, and that allows that person to become a better, more conscientious driver. It's the kind of restorative justice that advocates here in the media studio have been working for a very long time. It works. So we really encourage all caucuses of this place to get behind this bill today, get it past second reading, get it to committee so any changes that need to be made can be made. And with that, I will just ask Bryce and folks if there are any questions. There's here to be none. So thank you very much again for the opportunity to be here today. We are in the People's House to talk about vulnerable road users, and we encourage all MPPs to vote in favor of Bill 40 at second reading. Thank you very much.